Good day, family. We are back on the 10% Happier Self-Care Journey. Today is 3/10/20, and we're gearing up for spring soon. In fact, yesterday was a pretty nice day, so it kind of felt like we were getting the first kicks of spring. So today's topic is burnout versus compassion. Burnout versus compassion. So we use this term burnout in different ways to describe different things. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hey, Jan. Happy Tuesday to you. We use the term burnout to describe many things, or many different scenarios and circumstances. One of the ones that I'm most familiar with when it comes to burnout is, having a lot of different things going on as far as career, as far as responsibilities and that kind of thing, and needing to tend to everything. If I sound a bit nasally, I'm getting over a bit of a head cold, so bear with me. But I'm used to the term being used in that way, and I'm used to that as far as my own personal experience. So in this 10% Happier course, came across the topic of burnout as it relates to compassion. I was like, that's interesting, because I've never heard it in relation to that. So let's dig into it. So first, just a brief recap of compassion is what the definition is. Sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. Sympathetic consciousness of others' distress, together with a desire to alleviate it. Hey, Amanda, thanks for hanging out. So it's a consciousness of, what others are going through and a desire to alleviate it. So that's compassion. We're pretty familiar with that. Let's talk about burnout as it relates to compassion. So the definition would be, I forgot to do something. So I'm going to paste the notes in the chat. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, just look for the notes in the description. And these are the notes that I wrote in order for you to follow along with. So the definition of burnout is feeling overwhelmed, depleted, exhausted, undone, overcome, broken, etc. by someone else's difficulties in our desire to help or fix the situation. So there's a difference between having compassion for someone and what they're going through, and even lending a helping hand, being of service, being a part of the process of trying to alleviate their difficulty. And then when you feel overwhelmed by it, when it's now affecting your state. So while you're having compassion for them, trying to help them out of their struggling, when you start to struggle in the midst of that, then you are facing burnout when you're overwhelmed and depleted and exhausted. And this is something important for us to pay attention to because of the old adage at this point. I think it's probably relatively old. You can't help anyone else if you aren't able to help yourself. You have to help yourself first. So if you're feeling burnout, you won't be able to continue to be compassionate, to help, lend a helping hand. In fact, it might really affect your mood to where after a while you find yourself being really resentful or negative, even towards the person that you are trying to extend compassion to. So it's important to watch out for burnout. Compassion requires the balance of equanimity to acknowledge the suffering or pain of others and be open to helping while knowing that you can't solve every problem for everyone. You can't fix the world or force others to make different decisions. So it's a wisdom that comes with this, an intuition. Compassion requires balance. You can't have compassion without the balance of being mindful of yourself as well. being able to be realistic. One of the things that we have to continue to do, and practice on a daily basis is being realistic about what we can commit to and being realistic about the amount of help and in what capacity we're able to offer. Sometimes as we're trying to really be of service, we actually do ourselves a disservice and others because we overextend ourselves or we overcommit. And the issue is that we really can't commit to that level of giving or that level of showing compassion or helping or being of service. But in our deep desire to help is why we put ourselves in that position at times. Hey Darren, hey Rodney, thanks for hanging out. Hey Teresa, long time, how are you? So in our desire to help, sometimes we overextend ourselves. And so compassion requires wisdom and intuition to have balance, the balance of equanimity, that mental calmness, that composure, that even keelness. You need that equanimity to acknowledge the suffering or pain of others and being open to help them while knowing that you can't solve everybody's problem and you can't solve every problem for everyone. And that's so important because that could lead to different feelings. That could lead to you having an anxiety about that because maybe you feel like this person is really depending on you. This is something that I had to think about myself, in relationship to my close relatives. It's like, okay, this person is depending on me. But at the same time, though, that's not my fault that they're depending solely on me. So I can't be overwhelmed or I can't have a bunch of anxiety or be depleted because of the fact that I can't commit to the level at which they need me when I have my own life to look out for as well. And they don't have the ability to be mindful of that or to look out for my life. So I have to, you have to. So you want to strike this balance because that's the only way you're going to actually be able to be of help and of service to people. Hey, Gabriel. Hey, Kevin. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. You have to be able to do this. And then, because if you don't, then you can't extend compassion and you're withholding a gift that you really could be giving the world. So it's important. Kevin says, you did a great job Saturday, fam. Hey, thanks a lot, man. For those that don't know, Kevin is talking about, he said Saturday. Kevin is talking about the Purple Honey event that was at the Blake Center, the UB Blake Center this past Saturday. And I'm trying to keep you all posted on that kind of stuff because it's really good experiences if you're here in the DMV. It was a great night, Kev. So my brother, Kier Johnson, one of my best friends in the world, he unveiled his new concept called On the Wall Soundstage. And they basically, for those that are in Baltimore that know about the UB Blake Center, they rehabbed the whole fourth floor. It looks completely different. It's fire. It's so eclectic. So definitely you should check it out. And when I make announcements about these kind of things, you should definitely come through. I think you would enjoy it. So yeah, you have to know this balance. And here's another way to put it to try to make it a bit more succinct. Hey Raven, thanks for hanging out. Extending compassion. This is real important. And again, these are in the notes. So if you all want to have this to be able to go back and reference or to save it for yourself, just look in the chat. I pasted the notes. And if you're on YouTube watching this, it's in the description. Extending compassion to the point of your own inconvenience is unhealthy and detrimental, not only to yourself, but also those who you're trying to assist. Have compassion and empathy, but not at the expense of your own mental or physical well-being, sanity, capacity, or health. And this was an original quote that I just wrote, and I just put this up on Facebook by itself as well, just in case you want to refer back to that, because I just think it's really important. You cannot extend compassion to the point of your own inconvenience. You can't do it, and you can't feel bad about it when you aren't able to give to that level because it's going to be inconvenient for you, and you can't allow others to make you feel bad either. I repeat, you cannot allow others to make you feel bad about the fact that you can't give to them in the way that they need you to give, especially when those same people have no idea about the rest of your life and other things that you have to take care of and tend to for yourself. And even worse, especially when they don't care, when they just don't give a damn. You can't feel guilty. You have to be able to make peace with it. You have to do what you can and be able to say to yourself, not at their discretion, not with their permission, whatever. To yourself, say, you know what? This is what I would like to give. This is how I would like to help. This is how I can. This is what's within my means. And then know where that boundary is, and then say, past that, I can't commit to give any farther. You know, keep that clear line. Don't feel any judgment around yourself. Be happy that you're doing the amount that you feel like you can do. And when you can't do, and even in those times when you would normally do what you do, but something else prevents it, don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel down. It's not your, like, we're out here trying to put forth actions to help the world, right? To fix things. But it's not solely your job to fix the world. It's not solely your job to fix everyone's life. You have to make sure the quality of your life is being looked out for in this short time that we have here to be able to experience a high quality of life. That's up to you. You can't blame it on anybody else if you don't have the quality of life you desire when it comes to this subject, because it's on you to set the priorities and to set the boundaries. So extend compassion, but not to the point of your own inconvenience, where it's unhealthy and detrimental to you. Drop a line and let me know if any of this has resonated with you, and if you've had any places in your life where you've applied any of this stuff or had to apply it. You have to draw your boundaries. You have to. And I'll just speak about something, even more of like a practical application of that. When you're dealing with your older relatives, your older loved ones, as people get older, some people can become more and more selfish, where they only care about themselves and about what they want or what they desire, and where as time goes on, they care less and less about other people's feelings, other people's plans, their priorities, what's important to them. All they care about is what can be done for them and what they need. So it's really important to think about this here, especially a lot of us that wind up taking care of our parents and that kind of thing, which, is the majority of us when we have a good relationship, or it's, we're in close proximity. It's just important. You have to know your boundaries. And so you do not want to face burnout, because if you do, it'll be your fault. It'll really be your fault. So the last thing that we have here is practice focusing on a difficult person and mentally extending phrases of loving kindness toward them. This will help you to develop compassion without being triggered, facing burnout, or putting yourself in harm's way to help them. So, that's something we're even going to do here for about 30 seconds with what I call my 30-second meditation technique. So, having some time to just think about a person who is a difficult person, and who your what they call them, your petty tyrants are. A person you have to know. Who your difficult person is, or your difficult people are. And so being able to think about them, extend them phrases of loving kindness, may they be well, may they get their shit together. Knowing that or doing that practice, what it does is it helps you to be able to de-escalate and not be as triggered. And then when you're around them, you have more empathy and compassion. Now, one of the most important things, and this was a part of the session that I did, it was a couple sessions ago. I forgot which name. I'm trying to figure out which one it is, but Hey Chanel, thanks for watching. Hey Anthony, thanks for hanging out. Um, you know, what was I saying? Okay, so you're extending compassion. You're thinking about these things toward the person. This doesn't mean that you then condone their actions. Just because you might be being more compassionate to them or more empathetic to what caused them to be where they are or how they're behaving, it still doesn't mean that you condone their actions at all. It doesn't mean that you approve of their behaviors. It's a different kind of checking, a different kind of dealing with the situation. So you still feel the same way that you feel about the things that they do. You're just changing your relationship with the compassion that you have for them, which is allowing you not to be triggered when they do things that would normally trigger you. So that's really important. All right, so on that tip, we're going to take 30 seconds and we're going to do what I call a 30-second meditation technique. We're going to take 3 deep breaths, long inhales through the nose and exhales out the mouth, and we're going to take 10 seconds of mindfulness, even on this topic that we talked about today. So you don't have to be in a place where you have your eyes closed and that kind of thing. You could do this while you're driving. So we're just going to take a second to settle in and just work with this thing that we call compassion. And we're going to work to avoid burnout and avoid the symptoms, avoid the triggering scenarios that cause it. Taking full responsibility and knowing that if we do face it, it's because of our own actions or our inactions. So with that, we're taking full responsibility, we're owning it, we're owning our shit. And we're just going to work with that. So sometimes you can use this technique to just be able to de-escalate, because taking a deep breath and working with these kind of topics allow you to just kind of settle in. So with that, we're going to take a deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Take another deep breath in and out. And one more final deep breath in and out. Then we're just going to take 10, 15, maybe 20 more seconds of mindfulness, just to be in that place of non-judgment around ourselves and around others, as we work to extend compassion and empathy to ourselves with what we're dealing with and to others as well. So I'd like to invite you to just take a moment to just visualize a difficult person, or a person who you know is dealing with a lot of difficulty, who you have empathy and compassion or understanding for, but maybe what they're dealing with is allowing them to behave in a way that they're mistreating you or abusive of you, or not valuing you or appreciating you. And just work towards extending, even mentally, phrases that work for you, that allow you to feel better about the person and extend compassion. Phrases like, may you be safe, may you be well, may you live at ease, may you find your way through. Just remember that this is a practice, not to do something magically for the person that's going to change their behavior. But this is continuing to change your perspective or cultivate your perspective to give you more patience and empathy for that person when you're dealing with them, or to allow you to know how to separate yourself from dealing with them and protect yourself as well. So we're going to just bring this to a close by just taking one more deep breath in and a long exhale out. So, this is something that we can use regularly. You can use this at any given moment when needed. Sometimes you can just take 30 seconds to yourself while you're driving, while you're on your way to a particular difficult situation, or to meet with a particularly difficult person, or a person that's dealing with a lot of difficulty, who maybe just, because you have so much empathy and compassion for them, what they're dealing with just completely overtakes and overwhelms you. Try this practice technique, to be able to give yourself that resiliency to deal with the person and to deal with the situation successfully. So that's about it for the day. Thank you for joining me for another day of the 10% Happier Self-Care Journey. Today's topic was burnout versus compassion. And so with that, the musical piece that you hear playing in the background is my original piece called Yellows of Spring. And it's on my newest project, Key Reflections Volume 1. I would love if you could add that to your playlist, like your Spotify, Apple Music, or what have you, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon. Just search Key Reflections Aaron Hill. And then also, if you'd like to help to support me to make more content like this and the other content that you see me make on a daily basis, then look out for that info in the description or comment section of this video. And until next time, peace and be well. Take care.